The mission of the Bartlesville Police Department is to enhance the quality of life in our community by working cooperatively with the public and within the framework of the United States Constitution to enforce the laws, preserve the peace, reduce fear, and provide a safe environment for all of our citizens. Hello, and welcome to Behind the Badge. I am Police Chief Tracy Rolls, and as always, thank you for being here. Today we have Dispatch Supervisor Tammy Long. Thank you for being here with us today. And thank you for all that you do, keeping our people safe and keeping our citizens informed about things when they call into the dispatch center. So, how long have you been a dispatcher?
This August will mark my 30th year with the police department.
So you're not a rookie.
No.
Been doing it a long time.
Long time.
Probably heard it all.
Yes, most of it, but every day is a different day. You never know what can come
That's right,
up.
especially with you guys.
Yes.
About how many phone calls a day do you guys get on average in there?
Oh, on our shift, sometimes we can average anywhere to 100 to 150, and that's evening shift is from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
So at an 8-hour shift, up to 150-ish phone calls?
Usually.
Yeah. And not all those require an emergency response or a police officer to show up or ambulance to show up or fire to show up. Some of them are just
Correct.
informational.
Correct. We field a lot of calls where we're transferring to another agency or they're asking questions about something and we're fielding those kind of calls.
Did you know when you became a dispatcher that you had to know everything about everything?
No, I did not, but I found out real quickly.
So what are some of the qualities of a good dispatcher?
We have to be a good multitasker. We're doing a lot of stuff at one time, and so you do have to be able to type, to talk on the radio, talk on the phone. A good memory is a good quality because, we have to remember a lot of stuff and things about, where officers are. Patience, because you're dealing with people that are having a bad time. Maybe they've never called the police department before. And so you're having to deal with them, and sometimes, you have to be real patient with them to try and get information. And compassion. Sometimes it's the worst day they've ever had of their life. And so you've got to remember that, like, maybe you've taken numerous calls that have to do with this, but it's their first time to call the police department. So you have to really be compassionate with what they're going through. And a tough skin, because people are upset, and sometimes they do tend to yell at you or get short, but it's just because they're scared or having a bad day.
Sure. And the other thing is you gotta deal with all those cops.
Yes, police officers.
And they're so needy and they want everything and it's gotta be right now. And then you gotta deal with those firefighters, and that's just a whole different breed.
Whole different thing, and the deputies. We got the deputies too.
Yeah,
So.
and then those ambulance people and
It's
you guys,
never ending.
Yeah, you guys just have to wear a lot of hats and have many ears.
We do. We have to have about 30, or we could say.
You guys do a great job. We are very fortunate to have people like Tammy and her staff in our dispatch center. They really are heroes, and we don't throw that term out there lightly. So give us a snapshot into what a day in the life of a dispatcher looks like, as far as taking phone calls, people talking on the radio, you talking on the radio, having to do research for officers, all of that stuff. What does that look like?
Well, every day is different. You never know what's going to come in. We deal with domestics, missing children, loss of property, traffic accidents. Sometimes when it's severe weather, we get a lot of calls, especially if the tornado sirens go off. People will call and want to know what to do. Grass fire season's coming up, so we have to deal with a lot of, not only controlled burns, but those that get out of control. So we have a lot of grass fires. Loose animals. We've had everything from cats, dogs, pigs to goats, you name it. We log all the officers' traffic stops. We log their location, the tag. Then the officer may have us run a driver's license check, warrant checks. We make every time somebody calls and needs an officer to respond, we do a call for service. And so we log that, the times when officers or ambulance or fire department respond. We keep track of all those times. And we dispatch for Bartlesville Police, Bartlesville Fire, Dewey Police and Fire, Washington County Sheriff's Office, Ramona Police Department, Bartlesville Ambulance Service, and then we have 12 rural fires that we dispatch for. So it's a lot. So
Yeah. It is a lot. I don't think that people really understand that this is a city-funded group.
yes,
There's a budget within the city of Bartlesville that pays for our communication, our dispatch center. And it's solely funded through the city, yet we dispatch
for a lot of agencies.
several entities outside of the city of
Yes.
Bartlesville.
Yes.
And even outside of Washington County, so.
Yes, we have some rural Osage County fires.
Yeah,
departments
so
we dispatch for.
that's something that's very, very important for people to know, I think, is we're really a regional dispatch center
Yes, yeah.
by definition or
Like a
by theory.
one-stop shop.
Yeah, so it's not just what happens here in Bartlesville at the police department or at the fire department. It encompasses more than that. Even the
Yes.
ambulance service, that's a private entity, and we dispatch for them as well.
Yes, and on the ambulance service too, in the south part of the county, there would be like Collinsville and Skytook ambulance service. So sometimes we have to call them to get an ambulance down in the southern part of the county.
Yeah.
So,
So what's the most difficult part of being a dispatcher?
well, I think, one thing I think it bothers officers too is like when you have to deal with children. If you're taking a call and it's a domestic situation and you can hear the child crying in the background, that's always hard. Or when children get hurt. And also, you're taking an emergency call and it's a high, like intense call, something bad is happening, So you have to go straight from that. As soon as you're done with that call, well, the calls don't stop coming in. So you may be taking a call where somebody was just getting shot at, and then you immediately have to like transition to somebody that's calling about a barking dog. So it's just a constant, it never stops. So, you don't have a rest. And kind of sometimes keeping yourself distant from the emotional part of it, because if I get upset over something that's happening to these people, I can't help them. So I have to remain calm, to get them the help that they need.
Sure.
And sometimes we just don't know the outcome of calls. Like if we send somebody in an ambulance, like a person that, their loved one is hurt or something. And so we send the ambulance, but then we never know what happened. And that's sometimes kind of a, you wonder or worry about the people.
Yeah, so that closure piece of it.
Yeah. And of course, the radio, the phone call, all at the same time, like you said, that's a bunch, so.
Yeah, it's if you've never been in the dispatch center, that's something that you should visit. It's crazy in there.
It can be, yes.
It is crazy. So what should a person, if they call to report an incident, what should they expect a dispatcher to ask them, or what should they be prepared to answer?
Well, we're always gonna ask their location, whether they have a cell phone and they're calling 911 or not, we still need the location, we need to verify it. We're gonna ask them their name and their phone number, and we kinda want to know the where, the who, what, and when it happened. We dispatch for a lot of different agencies, so we need to know, where it was. They might have called Bartlesville Police Department, but need Sheriff's Office, so we need to know where it's happened. We're gonna ask them a lot of questions sometimes that they may think is not relevant, but it has some relevance to our responders to help them, to respond to the call properly.
So, I've listened to a lot of calls that have come into the dispatch center, and sometimes callers get frustrated or seem to be frustrated because of the questions that they're being asked. But there's a reason that you guys ask those questions.
Yes, there's a reason, and we can still dispatch a call or have it called at the same time we're on the phone with them. That doesn't delay any kind of response. We're a team in there. There's several of us. So either, I can still talk on the radio and respond an officer, and the other dispatchers can also send people and get help too. So just because they're on the phone with us does not mean that they are not getting the help that they need.
Right, and oftentimes it's better for the caller to stay on the line with you guys while
Correct.
officers or fire.
Yes,
or
we
whoever
like to,
is
especially on the
responding.
911 calls and it's something in progress, because we like to keep the officer updated.
Okay. So, when should a person call the non-emergency number versus calling 911?
Well, 911 was set up for true emergencies. A person is in danger, or they're hurt, or it's an in progress call. So that means that something is happening, maybe burglary at the times, just something in progress. The non-emergency would be for something that's not in progress, it's already happened, the suspect is gone, and they just need to make a report.
Okay. And it is important to call the appropriate number.
Correct, because if we get too many 911 calls that are not emergencies, that will tie up those specific phone lines that are designated as 911 lines.
Right. Well, Tammy, thank you again for being here, and thank you and your entire staff for everything that you guys do. You guys really are behind the badge. People don't see you out there. They often don't even hear your voice. They just know that somebody called and there's a police officer there, and they don't realize that all of the behind the scenes stuff that goes into getting that officer there or those firefighters there safely and in the most timely manner. So thank you guys for what you do.
You're welcome. It's a job that we find rewarding. We enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you have it from the dispatch center. If you don't, like I said, if you've never been in there, you should certainly take a tour and see what it's about. And I think that you'd be very surprised on how busy the dispatch center stays and some of the things that they have to deal with. So until next time, always check us out on Instagram at BPD Badge, at the Bartlesville Police Department Facebook page, as well as on YouTube at Behind the Badge. So until next week, thank you for everything. Take care and stay safe.